Ready? So I couldn't find my logbook. I have a little pouch, you know, which has that and radio papers and everything in it. It's not in my bag, which is unusual. So it's got to be at home, obviously. I'm going to take it slow along here, so I stopped there. I saw one skippy just sitting in the road looking at me. Should be a slippery road when it's wet, this one. So you got bitten by this spider. and it's kind of still going on, as in my arm's still sore. It's getting slightly better every day, so you know, there's hope for us all yet, so to speak. But it was, I don't know what sort of spider it was, you know, because I was asleep. I was actually having a nana nap on the lounge, and I woke up and thought, geez, my arm's sore, and next thing you know, my left arm was up like as big as a soldier crab when it's mating. and the skin's really hot and all that kind of stuff, so it was obviously an infection. So after a day or two I thought, oh well, I better go and see the doctor, and so I did, and she said, oh, we'll give you some flucloxacillin, and some of these antibiotics are sort of subject to some resistance these days. So if it's no good, it's still not, you know, significantly better in a few days or a couple of days, whatever, come back. So I left it for the weekend, and still wasn't much chop, so I went back in on the Monday and went to the emergency department, which is what they told me to do, you know. So I you know, they just sort of ran a few more blood tests and stuff like that, and they wanted me to stay in overnight, you know, just put me on an IV because I was fairly dehydrated, and but I said, no, I can't do that. So we sort of reached a compromise where they gave me a bag of fluids while I, you know, sat there for an hour or whatever, and then I could go home again. Okay, well, this is like a dry weather road, only if you need to. I think we'll bother coming along here again for the fun of it. Though you never know, of course. You never know. Presumably this will be Black Range Road. Lots of meat ants nests here, big ones too, you know. Doesn't tell us that it's Black Range Road, but it's that sort of road. This will take us back to the Bogan Way. Nice gravelly road. This one will be alright. Not too bad in the wet, I guess. Depending on how much rain you get. Because there's flooding everywhere in Australia, in the north of Australia and stuff. And I was still getting bugger all rain. I had to actually buy some water recently. Set all that up, you know, with just different hoses and connectors and a 1,000 litre tote. And all I needed was, like, you know, I got about 2,000. Fuck all. 2,000 litres of water, you know, like 1,000 in each of my outside tanks, and then it rained a bit after that, so I've been okay ever since. You know, I had 30 mils one fall, and then another 30 mils in a second fall in February and March so far, and that's got my both tanks over 3/4 full, sort of thing. So that's all right for a while. But the water's actually quite cheap to buy. It's $12. I'm sorry, $5.60 per kilolitre. So $5.60 for 1,000 litres. So that's pretty good, you know. Like the money, the expense comes in if you have to get someone else to supply you with it, to cart it to you and all that kind of stuff. Good girl. So because I set it up to do it myself, it's basically my petrol money sort of thing, and the expense of the water, which is not as bad as I thought it would be. So so that was a good way of doing it. I've only got a little old box trailer, which is probably only rated to 1,000 kilos, or maybe not even that. 750 kilos, I was going to say, sorry. But a full tote is 1,000 kilos of water. I got that, a litre a kilo sort of thing. So I just fill it about half, roughly half, bit more. And that's fine. It's only 20 kilometres to the stand pump, so it's just a bit of an outing, you know. And I don't mind doing it. So, you know, I can breathe a lot easier about water now than I was before. Want to have a look at that pile of ruins there. It probably was a house, yeah. A tank and remains of a chimney. These old colonial houses, the chimney is usually the last thing standing. The place that's right next to me It's not far off being like that, I don't reckon. I won't go in there, it's too dangerous. Keith goes in there all the time. Keith's a rat bag, of course. So yeah, now that I've got a bit more water security, I'm back. I went and bought two new transfer pumps. One of them I'm keeping to do the pumping of the water that I buy into the tanks. The other two, one transfers water up from the main tank up to the gravity tank, and the other one I'm going to use to pump water with some pressure into the house. So I've got some decent water pressure for showering and stuff, which will be great. Just got to get around to it. I've got the two pumps. I've just got to start matching things up, you know, some connectors, and get a pressure, probably get a pressure reduction valve thing so it doesn't pump. Those pumps pump about 40 litres a minute or something like that. So probably don't want that much pressure. It certainly has been a bit of a bumpy ride, fixing up this house. It's unbelievable how, I mean, the last bloke who lived there, you know, how did he live there? The biggest thing, I guess, remains, the biggest thing that I've done really remains the septic tank and the inside toilet. You know, Jesus, that's a, you know, it's the best thing since sliced bread, sort of thing. I mean, the Thunderbox, the long drop up the back, was just horrendous. I used a camping toilet. For however long it was, probably a year. And that's such a relief, you know. Just I kept the camping toilet, cleaned it up nicely, popped it away for a rainy day or whatever, you know, maybe take it camping. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll find an old caravan and do it up or something. Maybe. A fair bit of water flow along here at times. So yeah, it's been a sort of a vaguely entertaining last couple of months, but the weather's cooling off now. It won't be long until I'm whinging about it being too cold. But I can deal with the cold a fair bit better, and it's better to ride in the cold. I've got a couple of rides coming up, a couple for the BM and at least one for the old girl. So I need to fix that bike, get it ready. I've got another trip, my annual. I've got these. So I'm talking a lot today, aren't I? I've got these three mates that I've been mates with since primary school. We met in 5th class, and been mates ever since. You know, played footy together. Chase girls, you know, the usual stuff, coming of age stuff, you know. And good girl. And we meet up once a year and have dinner. probably told you this before, have dinner in a pub, and the pub, each year one of us gets to pick the pub, and we all meet at the pub, stay over, you know, blah blah blah, have dinner, have a couple of beers. Well, some of us have a couple of beers, some of us don't, depends on, you know, one of my mates doesn't drink anymore. He drank too much when he was young, so he's given it away. His liver wasn't very good, though the liver can repair itself, so I think he's going along pretty well these days. Anyway, so this year it's my turn, so I picked the Rusty Horse pub in Bribery. It's not that far from me, about 200 k's I think, down through Forbes, Young, that way. So who knows what that'll be like, but we'll give it a go. Yeah. Lovely day for motorcycling, as you can see. Fire trails, sort of. Good girl. Yes, I know, I know. I reckon I must have been quite close to the Yarrabandi road end of this road. Nice though. Nice countryside. Got him. loose stuff there. Should be a bit more careful of these dips, I suppose, after that last one. No, you good girl. Must be the Bogan way then. One can only assume. The dead pig. Bloody pigs, mate. They're multiplying. Something really needs to be done about them. That was another dead pig. So the world hasn't gotten any better, has it? Since last time I was here. Now there's a full-on war going on in the Middle East. Petrol prices are through the roof, if you can even get any. I came in to town on Monday, last Monday, and I got 2 just 10-litre containers of fuel for the mower and stuff, you know. And I noticed when I was there that there was no diesel. By the time I got home and looked on Facebook, there was no more unleaded, only premium. Then I think they ran out of fuel altogether, and it's happening all over the place, you know. And it's that time of year, or another time of year, where the you know, all the farmers need diesel for their cropping. So anyway, in the end I end up filling this up with the mower fuel that I bought. It should give me enough to get around here and then home again without any trouble. Just in case there's no fuel in Trundle. I don't know what the prices are here at the moment, but a mate of mine from Armidale sent me a photo of the one in Armidale near the airport there. It was $3.33 a litre. It's like, fuck, that's the most expensive, as far as I can remember, I've ever had, and that includes going across the Nullarbor and stuff, you know. about to come into downtown Trundle. Downtown Trundle. Not massive amounts of things going on in the main street. I think we'll go and stop in the shade and change the battery on the camera and all that stuff. It's a massive pub, isn't it? Lots of rooms. I've stayed up there. It's quite nice. We got the wobbles again at low speed wobbles. Typical leading link front end. Oh, there's a plaque there.